but since you peed on it currently, I can't come and like defecate on it to overdo it. Commander, don't forget we're the Commander Smiths. Commander, don't forget we're the Commander Smiths. We'll attack you. Commander Smiths and you. I have no idea.
Oh, come on.
No.
Baby. Milli Vanilli?
No idea.
Don't forget my number.
No idea.
Oh, come on.
I know nothing
You
about
don't know
Milli
Vanilli.
No. I apologize for that. We had the Commander Smiths,
Yeah.
and apparently one of us doesn't know like early 90s pop.
Oh, that was our childhood, man.
No, yours, not mine.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You had the gangster rap CDs.
I didn't start listening to that until like middle school.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to Commander Smith.
Yeah, and where one of us listens to Million Vanilli.
Who doesn't listen to Million Vanilli?
Jerk. I'm Lowry Smith.
I'm Adam Smith.
We are cousins.
Cousins.
Oh boy, you're just pushing this idea.
I'm going to play that for you now.
I don't want to hear it. It sounds awful.
You're definitely
episode
listening.
6.
You're listening to that after this episode is done.
You can find us on Twitter. See, I'm trying to move forward.
Yeah, you're gonna listen to Million Vanilli.
Well, you can find us on Twitter at Commander Smiths, and also you can Gmail us.
CommanderSmiths@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So those are 2 places you can find us. Also, actually, we have a YouTube channel. We got a couple videos up there now, or we have a couple videos.
We have one.
Well,
video.
actually, our podcasts go on there as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know any of this tech stuff.
Well, I don't know how it does it, but I have it connected somehow so that when we post it out, it pops onto YouTube
cool.
as well. But we have one official video, which was
dueling boxes.
Talked about it last week. We kind of hinted
Masters
at it.
25.
Yeah, it turned out really nice.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I especially liked it.
Yeah.
My winning box.
Your box.
Round 1 goes to Adam Smith.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was depressing.
Hey, but that last pack you opened up, that kind of turned it around from like being a terrible box to you broke even.
For that day.
Yeah.
Basically, after like a reprint box, like once it comes out, the value drops continuously for
a little bit, but then the cards start gaining value. That's
potentially
kind of
if they're good.
That's kind of what we're kind of foreshadowing a little bit, but that's kind of what our specs are going to be.
Yeah,
today.
we'll talk about those specs out of Masters 25. What we think you should be probably getting as the prices are going down
for the next month or so.
Some of them aren't going to bottom out and just never recover.
Yeah.
Some of them will come back. We'll talk about some of those that we would like.
That's going to be more of our segment 2. We're going to only be broken up into 2 segments today. We're going to be talking about Dominaria. We mentioned that last week, a couple cards from Dominaria.
And we're pretty psyched about We're going to talk about the multicolored legends.
Yeah. We had to break this up into a couple podcasts because we're like, let's just talk about the ones that can be good commanders that are revealed so far. The whole set hasn't been revealed yet, so we still have.
And some of the cool things, they started revealing some of the art this week, and the cool thing that we both agreed on was like at the top of the card they changed the border.
So like your
legends,
yeah. So it's not just legendary creatures; it's also your legendary
sorceries and
legendary enchantments. All that stuff has like this little. Instead of a nice curve of a card border, it has more
straight,
of like a, I don't know.
I would call it almost like a crown of color or
more
something.
like a scroll, I don't know.
I can believe you on that. I don't
know, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what they're basing it off
I like crown better. That sounds better.
Put a crown on your king.
It looks really cool, the art with it, so I'm excited to see the art once they start revealing it. Right now we only have, 10, 15 cards that we actually can see?
Yeah, and about 5 of them are good.
Yeah.
So,
and we're only going to be talking about 1 or 2 of those today. So
we generally like to talk about the art, and we just don't have that with a lot of this leak.
Yeah.
And
we don't want to miss out on not talking about cards that have been revealed. So we're going to talk about all the good,
the ones that we're excited about.
Yeah, the good commanders that have been revealed, and then maybe in future podcasts, if there's amazing art in a card, we'll just mention it and be like, hey, that card we mentioned before has sweet art, which it sometimes does help in the price with cards.
Yeah, sometimes if it's an ugly art, people are like, that's
shit.
I'll play it, but I don't want it.
Even the foils, I don't even want those. But yeah, to start off today with, like I said, segment 1 is just going to be talking about this, or commanders, the good commanders, kind of talk about what they work well with, and then segment 2 will be our specs. So a
card that I'm super psyced about.
Yeah, you mentioned this one last week.
I've been wanting something like this for like a decade, ever since Balefire Liege was printed. So Firesong and Sunspeaker. It is a 4-colorless red-white legendary creature. It's a Minotaur cleric. It's a 4/6. Cool thing about it: red instants and sorcery spells you control have lifelink.
That's ridiculous.
Lightning Bolt deals 3 damage and gains you 3 life.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then whenever a white spell instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, Firesong and Sunspeaker deals 3 damage to target creature or player.
Yeah, that's just freaking sick. And then, like you mentioned last week, which was with Lightning Helix.
With Lightning Helix, so that's a white spell and a red spell. So that spell has lifelink.
Yeah.
So when it deals 3 damage, you
already
gain
gaining
3
3 life with that card by itself.
And so but get this though. So it deals 3 damage, lifelink, you gain 3 life off of the damage.
Yeah.
Since it's a white spell, you get to have it trigger twice because you gained life off of it for the 3 life, and you gain 3 life off of the lifelink.
You know, this just has Lowery deck screaming all over it.
I love that. I just love it. It's such a simple card.
Yeah. Now, the only downfall I would say is it's 6, but it has to
6 mana. Yeah,
it has to be that high of a casting cost for how freaking good it is. Because if you got it out earlier than that, and you're just boom, boom, gaining life, you're dead. Like this, when it gets out, it's going to do damage.
And I would also say, like, another problem is you're going to put it in an instant and sorcery, like, heavy deck. And so you need to be able to protect yourself long enough to survive, and then just start rapidly gaining your life back off of burn.
Yeah. Probably.
Or you can have a ton of life gain spells that just kind of help you recover. And when you cast Firesong and Sunspeaker, maybe that's where you start getting your burn in along with gaining life. But in my mind,
you can do a lot with this.
Yeah, the burn feels better to me at this point, and some like cards that I
was gonna say, do you have any supporting cards that you could get with it? I mean, not only are you thinking more instants everything, but you could probably have some other creatures that work well with this too.
So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, like Balefire Liege, which is 2 colorless, 3 hybrid red-white, and it's like I'm going off the top of my head. It's a 2/4, and it gives all your red creatures +1/+1, all your white creatures +1/+1. Whenever you cast a red spell, Balefire Liege deals 3 damage to a creature or player. And whenever you play a white spell, you gain 3 life.
Oh, see, yeah, that works.
So perfect. It's very similar. It's like, I saw that card. I wish it was a legend back in Shadowmoor.
Yeah.
And now I got something very similar to it.
And this is one that actually has art. We can actually see this one right now.
Yeah, this is art. It's
actually pretty sweet. 2 little minotaurs.
Yeah, and that's the buy a box promo art that you can kind of see. Yeah. We don't know the actual art that's coming with it.
Yeah, because the buy a boxes normally are very different. Not very different, but they're different.
They're different enough.
The regular versions of it.
Yeah.
So then moving on to our next card that we want to talk about. I was a little more. I'm not necessarily excited about this, but I think it's a decent card for Wizards. Actually, it's is it Adeliz?
Adeliz? I'll go with it.
The Cinder Wind.
Hello.
Nice.
Adele. That's my Adele impression.
That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
Hello. That's awesome. This one is one blue and 1 red. It's a 2/2 legendary human wizard, flying haste. But here's where I feel like it's interesting, because wizards, you typically aren't aggro. You're not attacking with your wizards. This one actually makes it so you can actually kind of attack with your guys. It's whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, wizards you control get 1/1 until end of turn. So you potentially could just have all your wizards out. Normally your wizard deck is more focused on control and taking over a game, and then eventually winning.
You can aggro out.
Yeah. So this just makes it so you can just start casting instants and sorceries, which a wizard deck typically has anyways.
Sure.
And your guys are actually getting beefy. Or my other thought is have your wizard deck the same way you normally make a wizard deck, but this could be a way that if somebody's trying to wipe out, burn your guys, you can actually pump them up so they survive. Most of the time people do board wipes where it's destroy instead of damage, but that is also a plus to it.
The one thing that I was looking at this and like I feel like it's a weak commander.
Yeah.
Because it's I feel like it's a weird tension almost similar to like Monodorks and ramp into fatties.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just draw all ramp and no fatties. And sometimes you have a fistful of fatties and no ramp. And so I feel like here you can just have a bunch of wizards and not be able to pump them.
No, I agree. I would say...
Or all spells and have no wizards to take advantage of.
I would say this would go in your wizard deck more than it's actually, I guess, your commander.
I can see
off
that.
of what was one of the wizards that we just got, the one that made the tokens off of the last commander set.
Inala?
Inala. Yeah, there we go. I mean, that could go in that. This could fit in that deck pretty well, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. No, I feel like there's a way you could tweak this
tension a little bit too. In my Inala deck, I like my wizards to have like an enter the battlefield effect, so that I can get 2 of them off of it with the copying effect.
You can get 2 of them off?
As many off as needed. And so, and the problem with this is that it's legendary, so you can't copy it to like double it. I kind of look at it as like a bad prowess with the +1/+1 as well, because prowess triggers off of artifacts as well.
Yeah.
To whereas this is just instants and sorceries. That still could be really powerful if you have enough like wizards out that are able to get by.
Yeah.
So I think it could be interesting to
yeah,
with.
I'm just saying it's not one because we do have a couple of them that we just are writing off commanders that are multicolored that we're just like, we're not even going to talk about them because they're not even worth mentioning.
I don't think they're interesting enough.
Yeah. But this one I think has the ability that makes wizards something that they normally aren't. So that's why I was like, let's talk about this one a little bit. So, but yeah, next one I think is. We both actually are different. This one is a flip-flop. You like this one a little bit more than I actually like this one.
So, Aryel, Knight of Wind. It is a legendary creature, 4/4. It's 2 colorless, white-black. It has Vigilance, and then it has 2 abilities. You can tap 2 colorless and a white, tap it to create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance. And then you can pay black, tap it, tap X untapped knights you control, destroy target creature with power X or less.
So with this, you pretty much have to be a tribal deck for this to kind of work.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the part that's hard is that you got to tap X amount, and you just got to hope that their power is not that high, you know, if you're not playing tribal. You know, otherwise you're basing it off of making your tokens.
And the reason why I really like it, though, is because it is Knight tribal, and it's perfect in black and white, because there's such a history of Black Knight and White Knight, and those like being able to play both of those in there.
In this, isn't it, with the black?
Nope, different cards.
No, they're different, but they're trying to make them similar, where it's protection from white.
They have
spells of your opponent.
They have a history of doing that, though. So they did that in Cold Snap. They did it in, I want to say, Fallen Empires. They did it in, I want to say, maybe M12 as well.
Yeah.
Where the M12...
They always have the black versus white.
So they have black versus white with some type of protection. And
racist.
Yeah, it's, you know... I think we brought up that. Yeah, we brought up that like 2 out of 6 so far. Wizards make new colors. I don't want to be called out on that kind of stuff anymore.
But I see what you're saying. It's, I mean, for also the other part of it, for 4 mana for a 4/4, it's pretty decent. Yeah.
And the other thing about it is, like with the knights having Vigilance, you're able to attack and then use the black tap X amount of knights to kill a creature.
Yeah.
You can do it while in that attack step before blockers, or to kill like a creature that is going to kill Aryel or something.
I guess what I feel like what would make this card jump out more to me is if the making knights part wasn't a tap ability.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like you don't have to just go tribal. I feel like you need to go tribal with this if you have this as your commander. Whereas if you had it, is that not a tap ability? You could kind of do different things with it, and that could be a secondary thing.
Yeah, and like it's definitely not perfect, because when I look at like the black tap ability where you're trying to destroy a creature, if you're trying to kill a 4/4, you need to tap 4 knights.
Yeah.
I wish I could just tap the power. So like almost have them fight.
Equal.
Yeah. That's what I would prefer to do. But fighting, you're not going to lose any of your knights this way. In fighting, you will. So it's kind of a toss-up. It's in black and white, you're going to have some of the heaviest removal, like spot removal anyway. So I don't know how relevant that is now that I'm talking about it here. So
you're talking yourself out of it.
Yeah, I still like it because it's Night Tribal, and
are you gonna make a deck with it? I guess that's the key.
I'd have to go through and see if there are interesting knights. Like I like the idea of Black Knight and White Knight. Some other ones. Oh, a really cool card that I did find is Hakon Stromgald Scourge. So that's a Knight from Cold Snap, and you can only cast it from your graveyard. And when you cast it, you can cast night cards from your graveyard.
Oh, so that works with your tribal then.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of really cool in there.
So it then from then on you can cast knights from your when he's in play.
Yeah, and
but
so
you can't get him unless you're getting him in your graveyard.
In your graveyard.
So you have to find a way to discard him into there.
Get him in there, or you can cheat him into play.
Yeah, or you could do that. Yeah.
And it's one of the 99. Yeah. So, but it can help you recover from like board wipes, and like if it dies, I think you lose 2 or 3 life too. Okay. And then you just recast it and cast more knights and stuff like that.
Sweet.
So I think
out of the 3 really we've talked about so far, the only one that even I would make a commander with is the one that you've already laid claim to. You've peed on him, so it's yours. I can't make a commander.
I've marked him. I wish it was Taminoa, but that's fine too. Which
you just want to pee on everything.
Yeah.
Well, the next one we're gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about. Are you peeing or is that a snake?
It's peeing. Come on.
This one we're not really going to talk about much. It's not. It's an interesting card.
I think it's cool,
but it's not a commander card necessarily. Agreed. It would just be like in one of your decks. It's
Darigaaz reincarnated.
I got the reincarnated part, but the made up word part gets me. So this one,
it's a name.
This one costs a little bit, so it's like your dinosaurs here, but 4 colorless with black, red, and green. Flying Trample Haste. Do we even know what the creature... Oh, it's a dragon. Okay.
Yeah, it's a dragon.
Yep, dragon.
Do you not know Darigaaz?
No, I don't know which
He's
one.
from Invasion. He's...
he's one of the... gotcha. He's one of the... Which one does he do?
He deals damage for the amount of permanents you have in play?
Question mark? I'm Ron
I
Burgundy.
I called you out. You don't know who Darigaaz is? And then I'm like, I don't know what the hell he does either. I know him. We're friends. We're pen pals on Hotmail.
You don't know your dragons, Adam?
Yeah.
You had a tattoo of a dragon. You should know all your dragons.
You should.
But
Smog.
The short and simple of this guy is the reason why it's not necessarily a good commander is because when he dies, you exile him, and then he has 3 egg counters on him. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you take an egg counter off, and when you take your last one off, he comes back into play. 7/7 Flying Trample Haste. Well, in Commander, you just put him in your command zone most of the time, and just cast him again. You don't want to wait 3 turns to be able to get him going again. So it doesn't seem like it works well with anything.
If he's in your 99,
fine.
Then he's somebody that's going to come back, and then you're like, yeah, that's a great play.
And that's kind of why we wanted to talk about him, is because in the 99, he's actually a pretty decent card.
Yeah, if
you're playing those colors. So short and simple with that. That's pretty much all we were going to say with him. So next card, Larry, what do we got here?
Do we want to Grand Warlord Radha?
Is that where we're going next?
Do we want to do that one?
Yeah.
Or do we want to go Garna the Bloodflame?
You said that. I'll do the Garna.
Well, I mean, Garna, we could talk about that one real quick. It's pretty cool. It's just when it... so it's 3 colorless, red-black, Garna the Bloodflame, 3/3 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste.
So
I think he's really cool.
It's interesting.
I don't know how to build with him yet. I'd have to think about it.
Because the good part is like he gives your creatures haste, so you kind of want him in play, but then having him in your command zone as a potential board wipe, somebody wipes everything and then you're able to bring everything back is another interesting part of him too. So it's like, well, then I want to keep him in the command zone and not cast it, or you know what I'm saying, not have him out. But then you lose out on the haste stuff. So I don't know what the supporting cast would be with having him. You know,
one of the thoughts that I was having with it, again, I don't really know how to build with him yet, but I was thinking like have creatures out with some type of sacrifice outlet with cards like Grave Pact and Dictate of Erebos. So like whenever a creature you control goes into the graveyard, everybody else sacrifices.
So you're purposely doing it instead.
You're controlling it, and then you're sacrificing for free, playing this guy, bringing all those creatures back to your hand. Now you're probably not going to be able to replay many of those guys, but that's a way that you can get value out of them in my mind.
Question mark again?
Yeah. Again, it's hypothetical because I haven't built the deck or anything.
Well, and that's the other part of it is they go to your hand too.
Yeah,
they don't come back into play. So you still got to cast.
You
all
can
these
get like
guys
a
again.
fistful of cards into your hand and still have to discard some of them. Like if you have enough creatures out. So
it'd be an interesting build. It'd be something to. It'd take some time to figure out how to make this guy work.
Yeah,
but
I would agree.
It's different. I like it. Yeah. And then the next one was
Grand Warlord.
Yep. What's the last part? Mine's cut off, actually. I can't see.
I think it's just Radha.
Radha?
Yeah, that's her name.
So it's a 2 colorless, red and a green, legendary creature. Actually, I'm missing what the subtype is on that one. Subtype, I said, not subtype. There we go. It's an elf warrior. She has haste 3/4. Whenever one or more creatures you control attack, add that much mana in any combination of red or green until end of turn. You don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. So you have that mana until the end of turn.
Yeah, end of turn. But
you can mana ramp into big fatties.
Some of the thoughts that I was having was like having multiple attacks in a turn, so then you can just get a ton of mana.
Yeah.
And then, so you can easily go like infinite attack turns with Aggravated Assault, which is an enchantment of pay 5 mana, get another attack step. As long as you're attacking with 5 creatures, you can just continue to do that.
That's not a bad idea.
And then like you just get almost infinite mana if you're able to attack with more than 5 every time. And if you're able to get all those through, you're just winning.
Hashtag winning.
Yeah.
We'll get another one. Well, I also was thinking counter a little
like
counter,
tokens.
Token decks, Saprolines, whatever kind of deck. Which Saprolines are making a comeback with this.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
in a little bit.
Well, and with Radha, I agree. I was thinking like if you have a ton of tokens and then you're able to pump a ton of that mana into token makers as well, like Ant Queen. There's a couple of like X spells with creatures or with sorceries or something, and then you cast it after having that much mana, and then you make more tokens.
Yeah.
So that's where I was thinking.
I don't think I'd make a deck with her necessarily.
You don't think so? I
could see this being a Lowry deck.
I would love
you
to.
Peed on this
I'll pee on this one too.
You peed on this
if you
one
want me to. Can't watch, but.
What
that'd be weird.
Thing?
No, it's not. Not with me. I'm sorry.
It's everywhere. It's in my hair. Next card we're gonna go into is
Hallar the Firefletcher, and that's 1 colorless, green red, 3/3 trample. Whenever you cast a spell, that spell was kicked. If that spell was kicked, put a 1/1 counter on Hallar the Firefletcher. And Hallar deals damage equal to the number of 1/1 tokens on it to each opponent.
Now, this one I dig quite a bit. You were kind of so on it. I feel like this is Adam. I peed on this one.
Yeah,
this is Adam written all over it, because how I think this could work really well is you build a deck not just based off of kickers. You only put about 10 to... I said when I was talking to you about 10 to 12 kickers in your deck, but you make it more focused on giving you all your creatures 1/1 counters, so that when you finally cast one of your 12, you're doing a crap ton of damage, and people aren't necessarily seeing that, it's kicker after kicker after kicker.
Yeah.
And it does it to everybody, so it's not just you're targeting one player. You're able to wipe out potentially multiple players at one time if you're able to cast, it has enough counters, you protect her enough.
Well, and when I saw the card, I was excited like you are. And then I went through and looked at some of the kicker cards, and I was like, now I'm not excited. Most of these I don't want to cast.
Yeah, but
it's like Comet Storm, Strength of
what's
Tajuru?
the war the elf dude, the war caller,
Jhoira war caller.
That's a badass kicker right there. Yeah. And she's an elf as well, so you actually get 1+1 counters for how many times it was kicked, and it pumps her up, makes her bigger.
Makes her bigger, but doesn't add the counters.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Making this deck more focused on getting the counters on all your creatures, not necessarily her. And then once you actually get your good kickers, even though there isn't a crap ton of good kickers, it sounds like we're talking about football right now. But you find your good kicker cards, and you just have your 10 or 12, and you cast those every now and then it just wipes out people. If she has 10 counters on her, I mean, that's 10 damage to each player right there. So that was my thought with her. I feel like this might be my little pet project after I'm done with my other partner commanders that I got to finish.
And I can see like they're going to print kicker cards in this set that they just really haven't released yet. And so I can see that being more fun at that point.
Yeah.
But since you've peed on it currently, I can't come and like defecate on it to overdo it.
Defecate takes over peeing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what smells worse? Come on.
It depends if you're a cat or if you're a human, because cat piss is really bad.
I think you're a human, so defecation wins.
Good point. You win. Touche, salesman.
But I'm not going to do that. I said I'm not.
You're not going to defecate? All right, good.
No. I mean, not on the card. That's weird.
Next one is an old school one, an old school character brought back here.
Actually, you know what? Radha is an old school character too.
I don't care about Radha.
She was printed in Planar Chaos. Sorry, go on.
Jhoira's my first commander decker.
Yeah,
right? So this is
true.
Jhoira bringing her back. It's Jhoira Weatherlight Captain. She's 2 colorless, 1 blue, and 1 red. Whenever you cast a historic spell, and remember historic is artifacts, legendaries, sagas are all historic, you get to draw a card. She's a 3/3. That doesn't matter. It's the drawing part that I like about her.
The draw engine.
But at the same point, I don't know if I'd make her a commander necessarily, because then you're just more focused on drawing, I guess.
Just drawing and getting a ton of value out of her.
I think it would still work as a commander, and this is also one that has art right now, if you wanted to check her out.
I don't think that's official at all.
You don't think this one?
I think they pulled it from like
Oh, really?
art. Yeah.
How did you find that out?
I don't know. I just saw it on like special, like the full-on art, like with a bunch of people in it.
Yeah.
And I think they just cut it out and put
Oh, really? Just threw it in the card?
Yeah, I don't think that one counts.
Then take that away. I didn't realize that they did that.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong too, but I feel like they're just like, hey, we got art for Jhoira. Let's
just throw her in there.
Yeah. We're looking at MTG Salvation.
That's a good one.
Spoilers.
They typically get their spoilers really quick compared to everybody else, so that's where we typically go off.
The funny thing was, like, I loved it when they used to do it. Where they would just add in art of whatever they felt was appropriate for it.
When did they do that?
That was back.
Really?
I remember when we first started it. I remember specifically back in World Wake, and they had one. Shoot, I can't remember the name of the card right now, but it's a red landfall. When you have a land come into play, it deals 3 damage to a creature and player.
Oh yeah.
I want to say it's like Searing Blaze or something, but. So the picture that I remember specifically was like a car on fire, like being just like fireballed and pushed away, and it was just super funny to watch. Like they used to add in a bunch of like really cool like art that wasn't the actual.
So it had
art.
Nothing to do with it at all.
Yeah. They were just filling in art when they didn't have the art, and I thought that was super funny back in the day.
So getting off of the art part, that was a poor choice of words.
Art part.
Well, no, getting off on the art. That's what I thought you were giggling at. I think she's a pretty decent card. Better to be part of your 99, but I could see you build a deck around her. But it could be any kind of deck with draw engine. You know,
there's a Vidalkin that's 2 blue, 2 colorless, like 2/3 or whatever. But it also like draws you a card whenever an artifact comes into play, which is where you probably get Jhoira's most card draw off of.
Yeah.
In my mind, I would be artifact heavy.
Yeah, and that's probably what I would do too. It's easier.
That's where you're going to get most of your... there's just so many more playable artifacts.
And it's kind of in the colors of good art. I mean, there's a lot of artifact the blue and red work well together with artifact stuff.
Agreed.
So that works well. All right, next one, Lau.
Is Jodah Archmage Eternal. It's one colorless, a blue, a red, and a white for a 4/3 flyer. And this one is you may pay a white, blue, black, red, and green.
So all the colors of the rainbow.
Or rather than paying the mana cost for spells that you cast, which is basically Fist of Suns on a creature.
Yeah.
And that's in.
So also with this,
really cool.
I'm sure most people get this. Even though the casting is blue, red, and white, this is actually considered a 5-color commander.
This is a 5-color commander.
Because then the text
masquerading
has
as
the
a
5.
3.
So just in case people didn't get that, so it's not just a 3-color. You actually have it as a 5-color.
I have a friend that likes Jeskai colors, the red, white, blue, and he's like, why did they mess up my Jeskai commander? This was going to be awesome, and then they added the other 3 colors or the other 2 colors to it.
You can still play it as a 3-color.
That's what I told him. He's like,
just do what you want to do.
Then he's like, so I want to wreck my mana base so that I can use his ability to only play red, white, and blue spells.
So with this one, you're mainly looking at stuff that costs a crap ton, and you're able to just cast this stuff for 5.
Yeah, and when we were talking about it, I felt like this was a very similar commander to like Ramos Dragon Engine, where you're just paying 5 or 10 and just being able to play bigger spells.
These two would work perfect together in either deck, either one of them being a commander pretty much. I'd probably still stick with Ramos actually for my...
I like Ramos a lot.
I want to build a deck with her, or it. I don't know if it's a he or she. Ramos sounds more manly, I guess. Ramos. Not Ramos.
Oh, that one worked too. That works
as long as your voice changes. Ramos. Now I sound like an old lady. I'm Ramos.
Get your monocle out and just confuse everybody. I'm Mr. Peanut Dragon. That'll knit you a quilt.
What the hell are we talking about?
Ramos. Well, people know.
Yeah.
People know that we're talking about Ramos.
Oh, all right. Are we going to the next card? No, but anyways, I think in the Ramos or Jodah deck they both would work well together.
Yeah.
Long and short with that. Anyways. Muldrotha the Gravetide is the next one. 3 black, blue, and green. This is a 6/6 elemental avatar. During each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. So this is pretty badass. I mean, you just...
I'm licking this one.
Yeah.
I don't want to pee
You're
on
not
anything
peeing
more.
on it yet.
Yeah,
You're allowing others to make a deck with this?
Oh, no, I'm licking it. It's gross.
I'll still eat it.
Go ahead.
But yeah,
this
this one's... You have multiple different permanents in your graveyard. You get to bring them back. Is it cast?
Yeah, it's casting them.
Okay,
or no,
so
putting into play. So I think you still have to play them.
Play, yep. So you still have to cast.
The wording for that allows you to be able to play lands from your graveyard.
Yeah.
So that if it said cast permanents from your graveyard,
then you wouldn't be able to play land.
You wouldn't be able to do land.
Yeah. So this allows you
land, enchantment, planeswalker, enchantment.
So if you had all those in
and then creature,
the graveyard, you can do all of those.
Yeah, if you have the mana for it. Yeah, go for it.
If you were able to, you're able to put all of those, play all of those that turn. So it's a pretty badass card. I don't know, what would you do more of with this
Well, one thing that I was thinking about
with
with
use sack engine kind of stuff with it.
Yeah,
because you want stuff.
I know there's at least 3 enchantments that you can sacrifice. There's Seal of Primordial, and then there's the seals. They're from the saga, and then they're reprinted in, I want to say, Dissension.
Yeah.
So you can, the black one, you can sacrifice it to destroy target non-black creature. The blue one, you can bounce a creature, and the green one destroys artifact or enchantment. And so, you can maybe juggle those, whatever's more important. You can have, in my mind, you can have creatures that sacrifice for value, and then being able to recast them.
Yeah.
Any of the, I feel like it's just a ton of great value.
Well, think of what's Solemn.
Oh yeah, Simulacrum. Yeah.
I mean, any of that stuff where you're going to filter through and get your land and stuff like that, get more land, and you're sacrificing, drawing a card, that could be pretty
actually
ridiculous.
A really good point there too, because on the card it states if it has multiple types,
you can choose. Yeah, so that's an artifact or a creature.
Yeah, so you can cast a creature and cast Solemn Simulacrum as an artifact.
Yeah.
And then, so if you have like creatures that are also enchantments, you can do that as well. Bring back an enchantment that's also a creature.
I like this card too.
Yeah, it seems
I didn't
really
say
cool.
I said I lick this card too.
Oh.
We have licking. I licked that side, the left corner. Well, I don't know what side you licked. Did you?
There's
lick
nothing
that?
over there. I got the power toughness lick over there.
Damn it. I'm going with the casting cost instead. There, it's mine.
Go on. So next one that we want to talk about here a little bit. Yeah, you got this one. Is Rona, Disciple of Gix. One colorless, black and a blue. It's a 2/2 human artificer. When Rona, Disciple of Gix, enters the battlefield, you may exile target historic card from your graveyard. You may cast non-land cards exiled with Rona, and then you can pay for, tap it, exile the top card of your library.
I guess what my question is, and we may not have the right answer with this, is, okay, let's say I cast her,
okay,
and I take the top card and I exile it.
Sure.
Or not top card, the graveyard, from my graveyard
yeah.
and exile it. And let's say somebody blows her up, and then I cast him again and exile a different card. Do I still get the first one? Because now this is a new Rona in particular. I don't think that one that I first exiled is actually being able to be cast, because you actually, it's a new card almost in general, because it did die, go to your command zone. I know it still says if Rona, but that would actually be a thing we'd want to check out, and maybe we'll actually ask judges and put that in the notes in our show notes to get the right ruling. If you're able to cast cards that you like I was saying, if you're able to cast that first card, then I think it's a good card. If you're not, then I don't think it's a good commander card.
And I don't think either way it's a good commander card.
Well, I think it's an interesting one, because you're able to still cast your stuff that's in the graveyard, and then exiling your top card. I guess if you have extra mana, I guess I'm thinking more of when you're casting her. Or him, Rona.
Yeah,
we don't have a picture, so I don't know if it's male or female. Rona.
I don't know if it matters. But I just feel like the tap 4 and tap it.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
It's the same problem as that knight. You have to tap it for that ability. If I could just pay 4 to exile and exile and exile,
no, then it would be a lot better.
Then I'd feel like, sure. But right now, like, you pay 4, tap it.
So you potentially can, by turn 2, have 2 cards in your exile. You know,
on the second turn it's out, not turn 2.
No, that's what I meant. Second.
And
turn
then you got to
out.
somehow be able to cast it.
Yeah.
Which, it's going to be half random. You're probably going to brainstorm or figure out how to
it'd be better too if it was. You're talking me out of it now. Well, and actually, as we were reading it and thinking about it being 2 different, I think that's the ruling on it. That
I think it's a different card, so it wouldn't notice the exiled cards.
So I actually am like taking everything back that I said. That I don't lick this. I take my lick back.
No, you can't do that.
I don't lick on this one.
You gotta pull out like you gotta.
The fart gets it.
Cover your kids' ears today. We're talking about
cover your kids' ears because we're talking about farts.
Yeah, farts, urination, and defecation.
All right. Well, the next one we're going to talk about, we both love this freaking card. It's Slimefoot.
Yeah.
The Stowaway. This is bringing back fungus here. It's a black and a green for a 2/3. Whenever a sapling you control dies, Slimefoot the Stowaway deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. You can tap 4, not tap it. And you can create a 1/1 sapling token.
Well, they got one of them right then, I guess.
Yeah, out of the 3, they finally didn't have the tap ability. This is just freaking insane. I love sapling. I had a sapling deck. I don't have it anymore.
This one,
yeah, this one I'm peeing on. I'm not licking. No, I'm just kidding.
It's official.
You can make it as well. But the other part of it is it's dealing the damage as well. So commander damage?
No. Commander damage has to
combat
be
damage.
It has to be combat damage.
Dang it! I thought I had it there. I was like, oh, this would be sweet. But even still, for 3, a 2/3, and you're getting your saplings doing damage to everybody, and you gain life for that. Like that's pretty awesome. And saplings are meant to be sacrificed.
And they are, yeah. And there are a couple cards out there that you can sacrifice for free or very little with ability, and we talked about them before. Elvish Farmer, which is on the reserve list. Yeah. Actually, I suggest going out and getting a couple.
I agree with Lowery on that one.
It's a green and colorless for like an 0/2, and then...
That was in my Saproling deck.
Yeah, and then you can sacrifice a Saproling to gain 2 life. So it's a free activated ability. If this guy is your commander, Slimefoot guy, you're dealing 1 damage, gaining 2 life, and gaining 1 life off of the trigger of your commander. And then also it has like the fungus counters that when you have 3, you can remove it and put another Sapling.
Or Saproling, yep.
And then there's
like you said that you don't for sacrificing the Sapling, it's not a tap ability or anything. You're just sacking them.
Yeah, sacking it for free.
Yeah, so if somebody's like, I'm going to kill your Elvish Farmer, or I'm board wiping, you're like, well, I sacrifice, 2 life, 2 life, 2 life. Oh yeah, and my commander's out, so everybody's losing life, whatever. Yeah. So it's
and I think you're going to get some good support and Saplings in this set as well.
Yeah, it does seem like it.
A couple others that, like Utopia Mycon, sacrifice a Sapling for free, and then you can create any color of mana.
Yeah.
And then another one is Psychotropic Thallid, where you pay 1, sacrifice a Sapling, and you get to draw a card.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you're still paying 1, but like you're still sacrificing, dealing that damage, gaining a life, drawing a card. And
I think
all have that.
3 are pretty good specs, like you said. I think Farmer might be a little more because it's on the reserve list.
Reserve list seems like a powerful place to be.
And that one's sitting around $1 right now, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
We did look at it before. I mean, the most it was at $3. But if they are printing more Saprolings in this, and Commander players are going to
potential for it.
That could definitely go up. And then I think we're moving on to our last commander of this set that we wanted to talk about. I mean, there's probably gonna be more here, but these are the ones that are revealed of our multicolor commanders.
Yeah, and so the last one is Tiana, Ship's Caretaker. It is a 3 colorless, red-white, 3/3 Angel Artificer. Has flying and first strike. Whenever an aura or equipment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step.
So I'm so on this one because it's returning it to your hand, so you got to still cast it again. If it's an equipment, then you're actually having to cast it and then equip it again. Like it's just like it could go in an equipment deck, but man, that really slows you down. I just feel like you're just gonna get clunky like really quick, even if your stuff's getting killed.
True. I think one nice thing about it is that since it's bringing it back in red and white, if that's your commander and you're based around auras and equipment, maybe it's a weird type of card advantage where they're trying to destroy your stuff and it's still coming back to your hand.
Yeah.
So they have to make sure that they're destroying the Voltron effects along with your commander so that they don't come back.
Yeah.
And and red white does hurt for card advantage, but equipment does kind of slow you down on casting.
Yeah. I'd probably lean more of the aura way with this one, I guess.
I can see that.
Because just being able to just cast it and it goes right on your creature instead of... I don't know. I was thinking about putting it in my equipment deck. Now I'm like, it hinders me way too much. I want my stuff to stay out, you know? And not often do you get all your equipment destroyed. Actually, most of the time it's my creatures are all dead and my equipment's just sitting there on the battlefield. I'm like, all right, ready to attach it. So I'm actually not too concerned with stuff getting killed that way. So
yeah, it's for your equipment deck, and it might be for a lot of people. It's a lot easier just to kill the creature.
Yeah,
because oftentimes you don't have a ton of creatures.
Yeah,
and so generally you'll have your commander and 1 or 2 others that you can maybe Voltron up, but if you can kill those 2 or 3 creatures, then the equipment become pointless.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Are you gonna pee on it?
No.
This one's pee free.
I can only pee so much.
We're at the end. Your bladder is empty.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to the next segment. This is basically, we are going to talk about the specs from Masters 25. I know we talked about Masters 25 before, and we were telling
a longer list.
Yeah, we were telling you the cards that are good for Commander. This is going to be more focused on the cards that are... A lot of these are expensive cards that have dropped because of M25. And
this is where I'd say like wait. We're a week out from Masters 25 coming out. I would say wait another 3 to 5 weeks before buying these.
And it doesn't hurt if you actually bought it now. Do it now
because it's going to be cheaper. But these are cards that are actually played in like tournaments, and they should recover pretty nicely if they're not reprinted again soon within the next year.
And to start off, and these are going to be a variance of foils and non-foils, so we'll kind of specify with each one which ones we're thinking of. So to start us off, we're doing Azusa Lost but Seeking. That's the 2 and 1 green, 1/2, and you may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. Now, right now, she's sitting at about $17 for the regular, and about 31 is that for foil? Well, yeah, 31 bucks.
31 for foil.
Now, if you go to the original printing with the foil, and actually the promo,
the promo with the same art is about $60
bucks. So I feel like you could go either way, but I'd probably go for the foils on these.
I think and so this is played in your in Modern for ramping into like Primeval Titan.
Yeah.
Going into Molten Pinnacle and just burning people out with it's a Sscape Shift deck.
Yeah.
But
we're not focused on Modern Lowery.
No, we're not. But I know a little bit about other formats. I shouldn't have said that. I don't know a ton. I know some. I know cards that I played. I know. I hate Todds. So, but this is a card that is played.
Sorry if your name is Todd and you're a listener.
I'm not. I'm not sorry. And this is a card that should recover nicely.
Yeah.
And
it's still pretty high price, but it's come down quite a bit.
Yeah, if you want to play Sscape Shift and you have your Sscape Shifts, because that's the most expensive card in the deck, this is the next expensive card, and then you can pick these up right now.
I do really like the promo art. Well, what they're taking it from. I like this art with it. It's really nice. Next one
we want to talk about is Idina The Great Revel, and so this is a reprint from Born of the Gods. It's a creature enchantment that's a 2/2, and whenever a player plays a spell
it costs 3 or less.
That costs 3 or less, it deals 2 damage to that player. And this is played in Modern Burn. I believe it's working its way into Legacy Burn. It's just a solid card. It was like $10, $15 before the reprint. This has dropped everything in half easily.
Yeah.
It's $5 for
the regulars.
For the regular, and it's $15 for a foil. Both are probably a pretty good buy.
Yeah, I mean the normal.
It was Journey into Next.
Yeah, that was
not Born of the Gods.
$28 for the normal foil for Journey foils. So yeah, I mean this one, you could double up with your foil purchase, or even just you double up with the regular purchase on these.
$5 is the lowest that I remember this card at.
Yeah.
I remember it came out at like maybe $5. And then it just slowly raised as people realized this goes in Burn.
Yeah.
And Burn is a popular, cheap deck.
Yeah. And it's been kind of, I guess, it did just recently from last year's Masters set. It jumped up from down to around $6 up to $12, $13. So, yeah. Definitely. You could go either way with this one, I believe.
So, I think foils or the normal price are decent buys.
Are you going to pick up a couple of these, you think?
I'm going to I want a play set. I think it's a...
You own a place set?
No, I want to go and get one.
Yeah, I picked up one in our box opening, so I was kind of... I didn't own one before, so I was kind of happy with that. Next one is Street Wraith. This one is 3 colorless, 2 black, Swamp Walk, Cycling Pay 2 life, and it's a 3/4. Now, this bad boy... I would probably shoot for the foils on this, because the foils of the Future Sight, the original one... is up around $47. Now it did get printed in Modern Masters, and their foils are around $11.
And this one is about $10.
About $10,
now.
But it has that nice
watermark on it. And also, Modern Master foils tend to their foiling process bends the cards a lot more than normal.
Yeah.
I don't know how this Master set is going to end up with their foils.
The ones that we looked at seem pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems with mine that we opened last week at this point, but it's only been a week.
Yeah.
So as long as there isn't that heavy curling, I think the price on these will do really well.
I did hear that there was some issues with ones that were opened. A lot of them were
curving.
Or peeling, actually, is what I was hearing. Yeah, but so that's that might even. I don't know if that makes the price go up more necessarily because
you're gonna have
a lot less of the ones that actually made it through. Every one of the foil. I mean, we opened a foil in every single pack, and we didn't see anything wrong with any of our cards.
No, I didn't have any problems.
So it's actually the Ixalan block stuff is where I had more issues. Almost every box I opened had the. It was like they almost double stamped it, so the ink was really fat. And some of it was smeared. So
really?
Yeah, but it wasn't foils. It was just the regular cards.
Oh.
I actually kept those to the side. They're not worth anything. They're commons and uncommons.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. I don't need to turn those
complain.
in. Yeah, exactly. So, and then we're gonna move into
Cursecatcher is the next one we want to talk about. It is 1 blue for a 1/1 Merfolk and Wizard, which those two creature types are pretty relevant for what it does, but you could sacrifice it and make a player pay 1 more for an instant or sorcery, or it's countered.
Now, I would say this one's more of a modern staple.
This is a modern staple
instead of EDH, but that doesn't mean you can't invest in this one.
Exactly. Most of these are modern that we're talking about currently.
Yeah,
and this was like a $9-10 card before the reprint, and
at a regular.
A regular
price.
Regular
so
price.
We're actually more focused on the foils of this bad boy.
And I think the foil right now for Masters is right around $9 as well. I think that's a great buy. Just if you need a play set, if you want to play Merfolk in Modern or Legacy, this is played in both of them, and I would just pick up a play set at the very least.
Shadowmoor of the foils are $35.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean Shadowmoor. It's a little more rare.
Not foils. Like that wasn't a super popular block, the Lorwyn Shadowmoor block, but it.
I think that with the watermark stuff helped. I love this watermark stuff. I know we keep talking about it, but that really does.
It makes it pretty.
It does do something in my undercarriage.
Oh my.
Sexy kind of. All right, next one.
I'm blushing.
Yeah. Simeon Spirit Guide. This is an awesome card in Modern. I wouldn't necessarily
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's a 2/2 for 2 colorless and a red.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to play that?
Yeah. Well, the best part about it is you exile it from your hand and it adds 1 red. So you
really? Why would I want to do that?
Well, and like I just watched Saffron Olive from Goldfish play. Did you see the 12 moons he played this week?
Yeah,
he was dropping blood moons down on turn one, and people were just quitting right after the turn 1 before they even played a card, because you're able to just play 1 land and you have the Simians in your hand or whatever, and he had the other stuff in there too. But it's an awesome card. You're able to.
It's free mana.
Yeah,
it's super fast.
So, but these guys were also more focused. Wow, that's the hard part.
This one, the foil, the foils are like already
$23.
Yeah, a little steep to like kind of invest into like a.
But there's only one other printing, the original printing,
Chaos.
And those are $68 for their foil versions.
So to give perspective,
the regulars are $5 right now. So if you had the cash to do it, I would say probably shoot for the foils.
But I definitely think they're a solid buy for non-foils at under $3.
Yes, you definitely want to get this for your playset.
Yeah, I think you get a playset of these really easy, and they can go into a lot of modern decks if you're thinking about getting into it.
Yeah, and I bet you can find these for under $2 right now if you really searched hard on TCG or TCG is probably where you're going to find it for around $2.
TCGplayer.com.
Yeah. So, and then the last section here is we're just doing all these lands, the filter lands, right?
From Masters 25, the filter lands were all overpriced because they were
not printed
again in the Shadowmoor block, and so they just not a ton open, not a ton out there, and now that this printing has happened, it's lowered the price on some really good lands, which are the filter lands,
and we're focused more on the foils of these. The foils they're all under $20 right now, and these cards, the regulars, were over $20 before
and there's I put them in all of my 2-color decks.
Yeah.
And they can really help you in 3-color decks too. I just don't have a ton of them, so I don't play around with them too much. So like Fetid Heath, what it is, again, we'll repeat ourselves from episode past, but Fetid Heath is you can tap a white or a black and tap it, and then get yourself 2 black or 2 white or a black and a white.
Yeah, so it filters out what you actually want. And then you got Twilight Mire.
Twilight Mire.
I always want to say Mirror. But that one's green-black combo.
You have Cascade Bluffs, which is blue and red.
And then Flooded Grove is green and blue. And then
Rugged Prairie is red and white.
It's I know we talked about this earlier, or off the air before we talked, but it's kind of funny that white and black is the one that's the more expensive one out of all these.
I'm surprised on that too. I feel like red blue or blue green.
Yeah, normally those are the higher priced lands, but
blue is
whatever
the best.
reason,
yeah,
for whatever reason, the white black, and normally white black is one of the cheaper ones when you look at the fetch lands and everything.
Red white tends to be always the cheapest. Nobody likes
those combo colors. So, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. We would say. The lands I'm definitely going to shoot for. I'm going to try to get a couple of these foil ones.
Yeah. Now, like, if you want to go for the higher stuff, like if you want to buy Chalice of the Void, I'd still try and go and get that. It's just hard to recommend go out and get a playset or invest in this when they're $55. Yeah. It's hard to say, yeah, at its peak it was $75, $80, and now it's $50. I don't know if it's going to get up to that because of this printing.
Yeah.
So
and the Imperial Recruiter.
Yeah,
it's
used in Legacy. It was a $300 card. It's not going to get up to there again.
No, because it was in the Portal stuff.
Yeah,
so
Portal 3 Kingdoms. This probably doubled the amount of Imperial Recruiters that are out there.
Yeah.
So, if you want to play with Jace, the Mind Sculptor, I'd say right now is probably the time to do it.
Yeah.
Because right now it's cheaper than Liliana the Veil, and in my opinion, Jace the Mind Sculptor is a better planeswalker.
Jace has always been around 100, and then once they unbanned him in Modern, of course it went way up, and it's going to come back up again now that the release of this, it kind of dropped back down because it was 130, and now it's back down to 100. But I think it's going to slowly creep its way back up.
Liliana the Veil really isn't played in Legacy, to whereas Jason Mind Sculptor is. Mm-hmm. That's how good it is. It's able to be played in Legacy.
Yeah.
It's going to make its way into Modern pretty easy here.
Yeah. Well, some honorable mention stuff I would say probably Ensnaring Bridge.
That's a great card too. But again, it's what $35.
But I mean, it was $60 before. Blood Moon. I love that it has the watermark again with that. I'm glad I got one, but
I did too. Yeah, I was happy about that.
And then what did I mention to you before? Oh, Thalia. Thalia.
Yeah.
I do like that card. I don't have it, so that's actually why I want a copy or two of that bad boy.
Yeah, and that's played in Legacy, Death and Taxes, and it's working its way into Modern now. Yeah. So it. People.
Well, those are kind of our honorable mention ones. I would say that they're a little more on the spendy side, and those I would say just regular foils are going to be ridiculous with those.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that should do it for this episode. Don't you think? I don't think we have anything else.
I think that's about it.
Next week we're going to be discussing the rest of Dominaria, and we'll have
we'll figure out what part. I mean, there's so many other cards to talk about.
Yeah, and we'll have more release this next week.
Yeah, there'll be more releases.
Are we all released? Everything spoiled next week, or do we got 2 weeks now?
No. Yeah, I think it comes out mid-April.
Okay, so yeah, we probably still have a couple more weeks then.
Yeah, they'll probably start normal stuff here after this week, so like the beginning of April.
Yeah, because this week was kind of. I was like, oh, here comes spoilers of actually showing us the art. And I was like, here's 2 cards. And then here's another card.
Then they gave you some promo cards.
Yeah, I was like, oh, damn
I think some of them are really going to be cool.
Yeah.
Like, I know it sounds weird, but like Llanowar Elves has a promo art.
Oh, yeah, that looked really sweet.
Exactly.
It looks like badass Llanowar Elves. Like, they finally don't just look meh. They have like freaking 2 knives or whatever sitting in front of their face.
Well, that's not even the promo art. The promo art is like full art.
Oh, yeah.
And where he's like sitting on a branch and he's looking down at you going like, I create trees.
Well, and then there's that other... There's a couple of them that are the full art stuff.
Yeah, those are all the promos that they released on Thursday.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And so I'll probably go out and get myself like the full art Llanowar Elves. Just because they're really cool.
I think... I don't want to say it because then I'm probably going to be wrong. But I think the Llanowar Elves, the foil dudes are... $30-some or something like that right now. It might even be more than that.
Foil dudes, what?
Like the original, not the original, just the
first
first time.
Alpha didn't have
the
foils.
first time that they're in foil.
Yeah, that would probably be 7th edition.
I think that's right. Hang on, let me look it up. Well, never mind then. It did jump up, but then it actually went down.
It's back down. So it's like $17. It's from 7th edition.
White border.
Yeah. Well, no. So foiling on the white border cards are black border.
Oh, that's right.
That's why they're more desired than other cards, is because
they get targeted a lot. The 7th edition stuff.
7th and 8th and 9th edition.
Yeah.
Are foils.
So it did jump up to over 40, and then it's kind of dropped back down. Now it's around 17, but still 17 for Land of War Elves. I actually like that art on that one too, but
I'd rather have Alpha. Than Land of War Elves. That'd be sweet.
If I could choose.
Yeah, if I was choosing.
But yeah, so that the full art stuff in this is pretty cool. So
have you ever actually looked at an Alpha card?
I don't know if I had it way back in the day, Alpha or Beta.
I should bring some in. I got lands. A couple of I think I have a couple of lands as well. But I'm glad that they changed them. Like the corners are so much rounder than everything else. That they have. So I don't have a ton of Alpha, and they're definitely the commons.
Yeah, I think it is land that I have of that. We'll have to compare notes or compare cards.
I'm not writing on mine notes. Yeah. You are Alpha.
You gonna pee on that then?
No. I don't know. Did you have to clean up your yard this weekend? Because showing all the dog poo?
That's how you mark your territories. No, my son just pees outside all the time, so I got peeing in the head, peeing on my mind right
whatever.
Now. That's how you mark your stuff, actually. Yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. I was gonna get into details.
Thanks for listening to Commander Smiths this week.
No, let's get our. Well, you can follow us on Twitter at Commander Smiths, or shoot us an email
at commandersmiths@gmail.com.
And then you can also find our YouTube channel. It's easy. Just look for Commander Smiths. Right now, it's just the dueling
really? We
boxes.
should change that up. Make it weird for everything.
Yeah, not have Commander Smiths.
Yeah.
Adam and Lowery. How can you not find us?
That's weird. Just yeah. And if you have song ideas, again, send it in. If you have any questions, kind of tweet at us.
Anything.
Yeah.
I want some song ideas coming in. I
got one for next week already.
Oh, you do?
Already. Yeah, I got a text from.
Well, you worked ahead of time this time.
My sister-in-law texted in, and I like this one.
All right, you lucky bastard.
And it's definitely not Millie and Vanilli.
How the hell do you not know Millie Vanilli?
I'm sorry, I don't know real they're fake,
you don't know pop culture.
They're fake artists.
Yeah. Oh, so you do know that?
I do know that they're booed off stage because of the recording.
You're terrible. You're such a liar.
I'm sorry. Weren't they wearing wigs too? I
don't know if they were wearing wigs. One of them's dead. He killed himself.
Sad.
Yeah. Debbie Downer. All right, we'll see you guys later.
I think VH1 behind the
that's actually where they were. That's where I saw the whole thing on their background stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I wish that still was around.
All right, so that's how we're ending this podcast.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
Bye. Wah, wah.